Hello, real estate world. Welcome to the Nova Show, Real Estate Records. This is Nuria Rivera, owner of Novation Title. I wanted to create the space for you guys to be able to share success stories, but not only success stories. I also wanted you guys to be able to share raw stories. Everything that you have learned from the failures, the lessons, the wins. This is a space for our community to come together so that we can help each other rise to the next level. This is the space to be vulnerable, and this is the space for us to all be able to support each other in this real estate world. Please enjoy this episode.
Welcome, Rachel Williams.
Hello.
I'm so excited to have you today. Meet my friend and client, Rachel Williams. She's a real estate agent extraordinaire. Your go-to Utah Realtor with a twist. Rachel was licensed in 2018 and armed with a bachelor's in biology from UC Davis. Rachel brings brains and heart to the real estate game with a past life as a high school biology teacher. She's all about nurturing and guiding, whether it's helping you find your dream home or decoding the complexities of the market, and also education. Obviously, you're a great educator. Even in our friendship, I feel like you educate me. Mostly on science, but
Here's the mistakes that I've made.
Smart.
Don't make them, please.
Yes, exactly. Rachel isn't just any realtor. She's a mom, an amazing mom, a wife, a loving wife, and a powerhouse in the industry. Over 150 buyers and sellers have experienced her magic touch, making her one of the top 500 agents in Utah. Plus, she's racked up awards like the Daybreaky. That's kind of fun to say. The Daybreaky for being the top volume outside agent for Daybreak. Snagged multiple $1 million month honors and even earned the prestigious Realtor Distinguished Service Award. Do you remember getting all those?
Yeah.
You do? Good. Awesome. If you think you've seen her somewhere before, you're not imagining things. Rachel's a familiar face from ABC4's Real Estate Essentials. I've seen you on there quite a bit, where she shares her wisdom with the masses. So if you're looking for a realtor who's not only got expertise, but also heart of gold, which is for sure true, Rachel's your gal. Get ready to embark on your real estate journey with a friend by your side. Yay! So
And
I
I'll also
didn't
show
write
up
that.
in a pink car too.
Oh yeah, and she's a pink car. What would you call that? Like a
It's my
matte.
pinky tink.
It's matte,
Yeah.
right? Matte pink, yeah. Pinky tink. That's right.
Yeah. It's a nod to my mother-in-law, who we lost shortly before I got pregnant with Charlie. And we say that she was with Charlie during my entire pregnancy, and her nickname was Tink. And so pink, tink, pinky tink.
Cute. I love that car. My kids always talk about seeing it around town and stuff, although there's another one that's not your car that people, it's different.
There's more of like a bubblegum one that doesn't have the black on top.
This one's not a Tesla. Range Rover. It's a Range Rover.
Yeah.
And it lives right by Cooper's house, if you will. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to ask you some questions because I know the kind of agent you are, and I know that you have feedback and also education in these areas because I've watched you do your thing and you're amazing to watch. So, as a successful real estate agent, how do you manage to balance your professional life with your roles as a mom and a wife?
My calendar is, without my calendar, I would be lost. I make sure that if I'm scheduling appointments, that I'm putting them, if they're during family time, which all time is real estate time. If it's going to be a time that I'm expected to be home with the kids, it goes on the family calendar just so everyone knows that mom's not going to be here tonight. I try and schedule most of my appointments that I can during the day while the kids are at school and daycare, but it's my job, and that's what I tell people. People will, from time to time, feel bad or guilty or something that they're talking to me after hours, after bank hours, and I just tell them, like, as long as it's not 11 o'clock at night, like, this is my job. This is what I do. It's my passion. Please reach out because you're not supposed to be left wondering. That's why you have hired an agent.
Yeah.
So
You are one of the things that I love about you in real estate. There's a million things that I love about you in general, but you're passionate about your role as a real estate agent. From the moment you turn in the order or start the process all the way to beyond closing. I've known you to like go back to the house and do all kinds of crazy stuff after it's funded and recorded. So I just really appreciate and admire your tenacity for seeing it all the way through and then often beyond.
Well, especially now with things shifting in the real estate market and buyer agent commissions and all of the things, I've always really strongly felt that when I go to a store and someone walks up to me, I'm typically like, no, I'm on my own. But once I've committed to working with one of those people at the store, I expect them to be able to answer my questions and help me with the things. So when someone hires me, I remember all of those past experiences that I've had with other people, and I remember the ones that have made me feel terrible and the ones that have made me feel special. And I always try to err on the side of how can I make this person feel like they're the only client that I have in this moment, because they're the only person that's important to me in that moment when I'm either on the phone, texting them, emailing them. Priorities are such a big deal. And customer service has gone out the window since especially COVID. And people should feel like they're important. And when you're paying someone, whether you consider it directly or indirectly, as a seller or as a buyer, if you're paying me to do a job, I'm going to do the best job that I can do, because I don't want anyone to leave that transaction and be like, oh, we probably could have found someone better. That would be the worst thing that I could have happen. So I'm always trying to make sure that when we get to that closing table, we part ways as friends, because I've done everything that I said I was going to do.
Yes, and you're really good at that. And I would say you've stayed friends with any of your clients that I've ever met.
That's always my goal.
And I feel like I stay friends with most of them. I talked to one of your clients the other day. I can't even remember who it was, but she had questions about her 1099. And yeah, so. Okay, what are some strategies you found helpful in maintaining harmony between your work life and personal life? You talked about your calendar. That's really important. So give me some other strategies you felt for harmony.
You know, I had a meeting with Kathy Moore, it was probably about 2 years ago now, and she was encouraging me getting a transaction coordinator and protecting my time. And while I still have not gone to transaction coordinator, because again, I feel like when you hire me, you want to work with me, not an assistant. And I'm the one that's there, I'm the person you're communicating with. But at the same time, she did also encourage me, when you have appointments, it doesn't have to be a work appointment, and you don't have to feel guilty about having a personal life. And while I still carry that guilt when I can't do something, there are times that if my daughter has a dance recital, I have an appointment that evening. And it's not because you're not a priority to me or important to me, but it's hopes that we've developed a relationship at that point that if I tell you I'm not available, there's going to be a really good reason for it. So it's just making sure that I'm guarding those times that I know that I need to be there for my family. But then there's other times that, nope, it's a Tuesday night. Mom needs to work, and so that's what I have to do. So finding that balance was really hard. In my first 3 years in the industry, I did not have that balance at all. Charlie was with me for a lot of my appointments at the beginning when she was just an infant, but beyond that, I did not make my family a priority because I was building my business. And that's hard. It really was hard, but that's one thing that I would encourage new agents to do. You have to give up yourself for a little bit if you want to get the traction that you want. So eventually you can pull back and find that balance. But at the beginning, your time is not your own. You have to build your industry, your business.
There you go, new agents, listen up. That's great advice. I also happen to know that you guys take date night pretty seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And then another thing I admire is you guys take your kids on dates separately.
Yes.
So 3 kids, and you always talk about taking your son on a date, and it's just the 2 of you and the things that you got to experience in that. And then one of your 2 daughters, I was going to say their names, but we did not do that. I don't know. So yeah, it's admirable because I think that it's important. Let's see. Could you share a few tips for other moms in the real estate industry that are striving to find that balance? So already you've kind of given the first tip of if you really want to build a real estate career and be successful, the first, how long would you say? 6 months, 9 months, year?
I would say that first year needs to be pretty much dedicated to your practice. Like if a client wants to see a property, you've got to give up whatever you're doing and you need to go show that property, because until you can develop a reputation and you can develop those relationships that you potentially have referrals in the future, just getting cold calling or just getting leads, like that's fine for one, but you're building yourself. And so if you want this to last more than 1 or 2 years, you have to give up that time at the beginning so that you can enjoy the time after you've given that dedication.
Yeah. Awesome. As a real estate agent, how do you ensure that you're fully present for your clients while also being present for your family? I feel like you really touched on this. So if you want to expand on that, go ahead, but also you did talk about it.
I think that my kids have realized the importance of mom's job. Like when my phone rings when we're all in the car, they know it's quiet time. And then they will get a sticker when we get home, or they'll get their reward or their props or whatever. Sometimes it's just a big high five, but they know that that's mom's job. They know that there's times that they're going to be disappointed that mom can't be there, but they also, I'm hoping that I'm instilling in them a good work ethic. When it's time to work, you just have to get it done. And then when it's time to play, you get to give your full attention to that. And sometimes full attention is hard, but they are starting to see like, oh, mom had a call, or mom has to work, or mom has to do whatever. But back on your last question, I would say that it wouldn't be possible if I didn't have Ryan. Like Ryan being my husband, watching the kids when I have to go do my showings, go to my listing appointments, whatever it might be. If I didn't have him, I wouldn't be able to do it. So any single mom, single dad out there that's doing it, like my hat goes off to you, because I couldn't do it without help. Okay, granted, I have 3 kids, but still, like even with one, it's still a human that needs attention.
Yeah, and that is a good point, because if you have a partner, then it's you hopefully and potentially have that coverage, where as if you're a single mom or dad, it's not as much of a possibility unless you have a mom or a dad or somebody that can step up, grandma or grandpa. Okay, so what are some challenges you've faced as a working mom in the real estate industry, and how have you overcome them?
I think the hardest part is having to say no. Like your time, while you do guard it and you do have your schedule, like if you don't have something planned and you were looking forward to that evening of having macaroni and cheese with the kids, that sometimes just gets thrown up in the air when you have someone who wants to see a house in an hour. And having that flexibility with having help is definitely important, but it's really hard when you have to tell your kids that are expecting to have you home for the evening, hey guys, I'm actually not going to be here tonight. So just, I guess as a mom, dealing with that disappointment and learning how to navigate it and turning it into a positive, like, well, if this works out, then maybe we can, go to Park City for the weekend in a few months, because, well, this will get us paid,
Yeah.
So I always tell my clients, I don't do this for the commission. The commission is the bonus at the end. Me helping you get through this transaction with as little stress as possible is always my ultimate goal. And if I get paid at the end, then it's a bonus. I mean, obviously I do this for a job and it's my livelihood, but that's not the full reason that I go into each of the transactions, and I think that helps.
Awesome. Can you tell us a time specifically when you've had to make a tough decision between a work commitment and a family obligation, and how did you handle that?
Oh man. Unfortunately, family is usually the one that has to suffer, but there have been times where it's just not going to happen. Like I've had to miss appointments because kids are sick, and clients never love that, but I either find someone else who can step in for me, which I don't like to do because I have a relationship with this person, but I always find something that I can do to work around it. Either another real estate friend that I have, someone that was on my team when we had a team, my former business partner, like there's all options. It's just a matter of finding a way to make it work or having to disappoint someone.
Yeah, and no matter what, somebody's always disappointed, right? Mm-hmm. Whether it's the family side or the client side. So.
And then of course I have to carry that.
Yeah, and you do.
And I do.
You do carry that. Okay, as someone who wears multiple hats, which you also do, how do you prioritize your time and tasks effectively?
I'm a procrastinator, and so usually I get things done when I need to get them done, or if I know that I have a block of time in the middle of a day, like if I know that I have something coming up that I'm going to have to be prepared for, I like to say that that's what I usually do. I'd say it's about 50-50, but like if I know that I'm going to have an open day on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday are going to be crazy, I get as much done on Wednesday as I can just to take off some of that stress that I know that I'm anticipating experiencing the next days. So taking advantage of the time that I have and not just letting it be wasted time and going out to lunch, because you have a lot of free time as an agent. Like you're obviously not working 24/7, even though you're always working, you're always on your phone, you're always doing something. You do have breaks of time that if you don't utilize it, then you find yourself even more stressed. So it's trying to use that time to eliminate the excess stress that you know that you can control.
Yeah.
And you know me, I'm a stress ball. So anything I can do to reduce that is always good.
Awesome. What do you do for Rachel? This isn't on my sheet, but I want to know.
It's my friends. It's my friends, especially my friends in the industry who know how much of what I do I carry, and who just allow me to not even talk about the industry, but just knowing that like we're on the same vibe, you know what I'm feeling right now, and just taking me out of that element and just being able to be with my friend it's my therapy, 100%. Lunch, toes, whatever it is.
Yeah. And you also do hot works, right?
Yes, I try and do it. I usually go 5 days a week, and that's again family time. Like I don't do it on Saturday and Sunday because I know I'm going to be with my kids. But every day when I drop them off at school, as long as I don't have an appointment, I'm at the gym because that gets all that stress out.
Yeah, keeps your mind right too, I'm sure. Okay, well, coincidentally, how do you maintain your own well-being and self-care while managing the demands of your professional and family life? So that's friends.
Mm-hmm. Gym. Every once in a while, I'll take a bath.
Okay.
I take the dog for walks sometimes when I just need to get out of my own head. I know that this is a guilty pleasure, but I play games on my phone.
Cool. Yeah, but it's mindless.
Yes.
I enjoy that too sometimes because I don't have to think about anything, not even the game, because it's just easy or just... So, yeah, I can definitely relate to that.
Yeah.
And as someone who doesn't do video games or it's just easy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then if I get a call, then I'm already on my phone.
Yeah. There you go. What advice would you give to an aspiring real estate agent who are also mothers looking to thrive in both their career and their personal life?
Find your help. Make sure you have your help lined up ahead of time. Not necessarily like I'm going to need someone Monday through Friday from this time to this time. That's an obvious. But knowing that you have a person that you can call if husband's out with something or partner's out with something, or if you're a single person, like making sure that you always have your backup that knows that there's going to be sometimes that you have a last minute thing and that's your person and they're not going to make you feel bad about it. You might carry guilt about it, but knowing that you have that person is huge. And then like I said before, like knowing that you're going to be giving up a lot of yourself for a while, but it's going to pay dividends in the end. And if you don't do that, then you're going to continue to struggle for years because you never set that foundation for yourself.
I love that. I love the build the foundation. I haven't ever thought of it that way, but it definitely makes sense even in starting any business, right? Being a new real estate agent, you're just starting a business. Mm-hmm. It just looks different because you don't have a storefront and you don't have, but it's all the same. You got to grind at the beginning, probably not make enough money at the beginning, all the things that's expected of starting a new business, but people look at it differently because it's a real estate agent. They think they should just be closing deals right out of the chute.
Yeah.
I know that you did pretty good.
Well, I didn't have anything for my first 6 months.
Oh, really?
So my first calendar year, I closed 32 transactions, but my first 6 months from August of 2018 when I got my license until March of 2019, I didn't have any transactions. My first one was closed in March of 2019. So,
and then you ended up closing 32 deals that year?
Mm-hmm.
Dang, that's amazing.
But I would say one of the hardest things too when you're getting started is finding your circle within the industry. So I mean, obviously I found clients. I was working with the builder. I was social media. I was doing all the things, but I started with one title company and it just was fine. And then obviously Sean found Michelle and I found Brittany and we all came together, and then Novation has been my title company since I started, pretty much. And then lenders, like I've worked with a few lenders, but now I'm working with Ryan, but I still have other lender friends in the industry. If there's something that Ryan can't handle or doesn't know, I have other people I can go to. And so when you're first getting started, you're going to have people want to wine and dine you, but you have to find the people that make you feel comfortable and that you know that you can call and feel bad about it after. But at 3 o'clock when you're supposed to be closing at 4, I'm freaking out because, and Kristi will say, it's going to be okay, friend. Just get here and we'll get it taken care of, and I'll come all stressed and she'll give me a hug and everything's good. Those are your people. Like that's what you need, because if you don't have that, then you're swimming in an ocean with a million other fish that also don't know what they're doing. Yeah. And I would suggest getting on a team, because really real estate school teaches you nothing about the industry. It teaches you the laws, it teaches you how to protect yourself, but if you want to be a realtor, you need to learn from someone who's been there, done that.
And you entered a team right away?
I entered a team right away. It was only one other person there was a team leader and one other person, but ever since then, I mean, I've been with Sean, and then eventually I went from being on his team to being his partner. I've always had someone. I've always had someone. I've
So
never
it
been
was
at it myself.
Sean at the beginning, same.
Let's see, I got my license in August and I joined Sean in November.
Oh, okay.
But I
So
started
real
with one
soon.
of Ryan's buddies and that didn't
Okay.
work. And then Sean ever
Okay,
since.
that's right. I do remember that. So then, okay, I think that's really good advice so basically, yeah, find your tribe, right? So find the people that you work well with and then lean on them to walk you through difficult transactions and be able to lean on them when you're stressed or need to come early, or let's just go grab a bite, because we are all in the same industry and we know the flavor of stress that we're dealing with. And it's like a whole lot of hurry up and wait, and then you're taking too long, so I appreciate that. Now what I want to talk about is like follies in your business. So maybe any final walkthroughs you've done that were just a big fail or something crazy, or when you're looking at houses and you find, just give me some good stories about some of your experiences that you've had since 2018.
Well, most recently, I had clients move into their house, and they're a little bit more conservative, and the previous owners left some not so conservative things behind that adults sometimes like to partake with, and got a text message afterwards like, hey, everything's great in the house. We did find some of their stuff. Should we just throw it away? And I'm like,
did they send a photo? Or
luckily, no.
Okay,
but
they
I
just
did
told you what it was?
Yes.
That's funny.
So one time we were doing an inspection, and it was a West Valley house, lots of people living in the house. The inspector went in under the stairs, and it was kind of an unfinished space. It was an older house, and came back out and just looked at us, and we're like, what is it? And he's like, so no sound. And so my client, I'm terrified at this point. My client then peeks his head in and he backs up and he's like, so there's people under there. And there was like 5 people under there, hiding from us for who knows what reason, but yeah, hiding under the stairs. One house I showed in the Avenues had this creepy basement area. So we lifted up the floorboards, where there was the access point, and at the bottom of the stairs it had a black light, not a regular light, and like neon paint and a skull and crossbones, like beware. And I told my client, I was like, I love you and I want to help you find a house, but I already don't think this is it, and I'm not willing to go down there. And she's like, okay, good, me neither. Can we go?
Oh, thank goodness you guys are all on the same page.
Yeah, it's more of the creepy stuff that you're like, okay, let's go. Or like we'll go into houses that like it'll have a basement, and they're the kind of creepy ones in the first place that aren't finished, but then they'll have that like dirt shelf under the house, and sometimes they'll have the plastic over it, other times it's like behind a boarded up area. And one time it was kind of open, so I peeked in there. Oh, there was for sure a possum under there, so we left immediately. And it like hissed at me and everything. Oh yeah, no. It might have been a raccoon, but it looked like a possum. Yeah.
I'm out of there.
Yeah, so the faster you can get out of those houses, the better.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Okay, so let's talk about like closing horror stories, or
we got one.
Okay, we'll do one horror and one like win.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
So the horror, we went out to Tooele County. I'm not going to get too specific with it.
Oh, I already know what you're going to say.
And we're at the closing, and there was a situation with a broken hip and wind and a door and carrying and throwing the person and broken hip in the bed. And we both get out there planning on an hour and a half closing. Well, after an hour and a half, I have to go to my next appointment. Poor Kristi is there because they were looking for the death certificate so that we could record this whole thing. Couldn't find it. So you were there, I think, for 2.5 hours.
Yeah. And it was a seller, so it
Yes.
should have been 20, 30 minutes. Yeah.
So finally finds it. Kristi tells me, we're good. A couple days later, the buyers show up to try and take possession of the home. Grandson comes out with a gun, scares them off. And then they left behind a dump truck and a trailer. And it was one of those transactions that never felt like it was going to end. A year later, turns out that they hadn't registered their water rights. The seller or the buyers then come after me saying that I've sold them something that didn't exist. And so it was the transaction that just kept on giving. So a nightmare that lasted over a year. Yeah.
Wow, I forgot about that one.
Oh Oh, trust me, I did it.
I bet. So let's talk about a win. We've had tons of wins.
Yes.
And you've had them without me too, with new builds and stuff. So I'm just trying to think. Just, you know how I love to work with humans, like the humans across the table. It's my favorite part of the job. So I'm personally just trying to think of like faces that I remember, but you really have had amazing ones. I will say recently we did a closing where our buyer was in Scotland. So we did an online closing, 100%, funded and recorded it. Rachel goes to Disneyland, and then the lender comes back and says, why did you guys e-sign this note? And we're like, well, you supported that in the moment. Like, you told us we could. So I had to call, is it Anandi? Am I saying that right? Okay. So did you know
she
that
told
I
me
did
about
this?
the Costco.
Okay, yeah. So I met up with the
lot.
buyer. I'm like, are you here from Scotland? Luckily she was. Rachel, I didn't want to bother Rachel with it. She was on vacation. So I went and met this beautiful human in the parking lot. She had a brand new car. She had just moved here from Scotland.
I haven't even seen it yet.
That's
I've seen the house with her, but not the car.
So yeah, I met her at the Costco, got it signed. It took 12 seconds and then off we were. So that's a win.
The beautiful thing about that one is she was moving to Scotland when I helped her sell her house. She'd been in it for less than a year. So first of all, Daybreak doesn't want anyone to sell in less than a year. So I helped her with the first step of getting the divorce decree to the HOA so that she wouldn't be assessed the $25,000 fine. So now I've established a level of trust with her, and she ended up moving away before the house was even done being sold. And we handled all of the paperwork before she even left. She bought it at the peak of the COVID market, and we still were able to get her closed, basically breaking even, which was a feat in and of itself. And because that went well, now she's in Scotland, trusted me to go and view these homes for her, take video, do the inspection without her, sign all the documents from overseas to then come here. And of course, I care. So I was nervous until she went into the house. I was nervous that she was not going to be happy. And so she was in love with it all along the way. But until you walk in the door, like, it is not going to be the same experience.
Yeah.
And so I went and visited her last week on Thursday or Friday. And I was like, okay, I've been so nervous. Like, what do you think now that you're actually here? She's like, oh, we love it. Like, it's everything that we were hoping for. But so that's a huge win because I have all of the pressure of the entire buying experience through just video. And she trusted me to buy a house sight unseen. And that's the third time that I've done that. One of them was with Ryan Winder. They bought the house, came here, signed. I picked him up from the airport. We came here, and then I took him to the house so he could see it after we were closed. And then I dropped him off at a trailhead so he could go hike before he had to go back to Arizona.
I remember Ryan as well.
Yeah.
I do remember him.
So those are like the most nervous experiences, but also the most rewarding because that human put their entire faith in you, and to be happy afterwards. I don't know what I would do if they were sad afterwards, but to be happy afterwards, like, that was a huge win.
Yeah, you say, call me in a year and we'll sell it and try again.
Yeah. Basically.
They might not like that. Well, I don't know how much time it's been, but I just want you to know that I love and adore you. All real estate aside, you're a close friend of mine and my confidant, and I can tell you anything, business or personal, and you're just a really good human, and I'm just
Kristi's actually not that great. You do not want her as your escrow officer because I need her all to myself, so find someone else.
She really feels that way. I just appreciate you, and I'm honored to call you my friend, and I just love you.
I love that there's not one thing about you or where you have chosen to, hang your license and all the things. Like, if I need anything, and as crazy as I may be at times, like, you don't let me feel the crazy that I'm putting out. Like, you just take it from me. And I know that I'm crazy, but you just, it'll be okay. And like the fact that I have someone who gets me so well and that I know that I can lean on, but I also appreciate, and you know that I appreciate you. And after the crazy's over, then I can come back and tell you I appreciate you. Yeah. But that you keep me level-headed, like that is, those people who like to shop around for different people in the industry, like find your person and let that person like get to know them. So that way when the crazy comes, you guys can still be friends afterwards, and you don't have to go find someone else because you're so embarrassed by the crazy that came out.
Yeah, well, you've grounded me on more than 10 occasions, so it's right back at you. I'm not always the grounded one in this relationship, but usually when I need grounding, it's for outside of real estate.
Well, and I will say too, like, you've taught me so much more about being a good person than I think that you even realize. Like, accepting that the universe has my back, accepting that the universe is going to listen to me when I need something. Like, I just have to talk to her and let her know. Accepting that karma is a huge player in our industry. And if you do good unto other people, like, you're going to receive good. But having a person that can teach you that, like, you have taught me so much about being an adult, as crazy as that is, because I was one before I met you, but you taught me how to be like a grounded adult and to accept like things that happen and there's a reason for it. And I appreciate that so much because I grew up having a life like this is how it's supposed to be, and you're like, yeah, it might supposed to be that way, but look at all these other options as how it can be.
Yeah.
And you opened my eyes to all of that.
Yay. Well, thank you for saying that. That's like the best compliment ever. Well, Rachel Williams, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you.
That's it.
And I guess, social. You can find me with Rachel Williams on everything. Facebook with Rachel Williams, Instagram with Rachel Williams. My website is withrachelwilliams.com.
WITH?
Yeah.
The word? Okay.
Yeah.
Withrachelwilliams.com. And Rachel Williams is just how you would expect, RACHEL. Would you die if I spelled your name wrong?
It's Rachel, not Michael.
Yeah.
Not that I've ever said that before.
Withrachelwilliams.com. Thanks for listening or watching, whichever one you're doing. That's it.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please rate us, like us, and share this podcast with our real estate community. The Nova Show Real Estate Record, sharing raw stories of real estate, failures, lessons, wins, and successes. This is all from Novation Title, bringing a different experience into your world so that we can all uplift each other. Until next time.